E-bikes were once something people laughed at. Many riders saw them as lazy cycling, or a strange mix between a bicycle and a gadget that didn't really belong on the road. But what used to be a cycling joke is now a $40 billion global industry. And they are everywhere, from crowded city streets to quiet neighborhood lanes. But as sales exploded, the rules didn't always keep up. And now, in many places, riders may be using bikes that don't actually meet local laws. Now, this rise of illegal e-bikes has become a growing topic of debate, raising questions about safety, enforcement, and awareness. So how did this happen? Let's break it down. Back in the 90s, e-bikes were bulky and kinda awkward. Big batteries, visible wires. They honestly looked like school science projects, and that's one big reason people didn't take them seriously. But then the technology improved, and suddenly, e-bikes looked just like regular bicycles. Batteries got lighter, motors got smaller but stronger, charging became faster. And most importantly, the design changed. Manufacturers also started designing bikes with hidden cables and built-in batteries, which meant many modern e-bikes now look almost identical to traditional bicycles. And that change actually made them far more appealing, because riders could enjoy motor assistance without feeling like they were riding something unusual. But the problem started when performance levels also improved. Some bikes began reaching higher speeds while still looking like regular bicycles. Some added throttle systems that allowed riders to accelerate without pedaling. And in certain regions, these features pushed bikes beyond legal classifications. But because they looked so normal, many riders didn't even realize they were riding something that might not meet local rules. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is where e-bike growth exploded in a way that completely changed the industry. Suddenly, millions of people wanted to avoid public transportation. Buses and trains felt crowded and risky, and people started searching for transportation options that allowed social distancing while still being affordable and practical. And in many areas, they didn't require a license, petrol, or complicated paperwork, which made them extremely easy to adopt. And for many commuters, e-bikes felt like a freedom tool. Sales surged almost overnight. In some regions, e-bike sales even overtook traditional bicycles and electric cars. Governments encouraged it too, offering subsidies and tax breaks to reduce congestion and emissions. But while adoption moved incredibly fast, regulations and enforcement systems simply couldn't keep up. And that created gaps where higher-powered bikes entered markets without clear public awareness about legal speed or power limits. Another major reason behind the rapid growth is that e-bikes genuinely solve everyday problems for different types of riders. Delivery workers could ride longer without burning out. Commuters could handle hills and longer distances. A 20-mile ride no longer sounded impossible. And for older riders or people with mobility challenges, e-bikes weren't just convenient. They were the difference between riding and not riding at all. And this wide range of users created huge demand for different types of e-bikes, including models designed for higher speed and stronger motor power. And that demand sometimes pushed manufacturers and buyers into legal gray areas where performance features exceeded certain regional limits. Social media played a major role too. Influencers and YouTube reviewers showcased sleek, high-powered models that looked subtle and stealthy. Many videos focused on performance tests or customization features, and some even demonstrated how bikes could unlock higher speed settings. And while this content made e-bikes more popular, it often left out discussions about local laws and classifications, which meant viewers sometimes saw high-performance bikes as normal everyday rides, rather than machines that might require different licensing or registration rules in certain cities. As cities began noticing rising speeds and accident concerns, many governments introduced stricter classifications separating low-speed pedal assist bikes from higher-powered motorized versions. But by that time, thousands of riders had already purchased e-bikes that existed in regulatory gray zones. Supporters of stricter enforcement say higher speeds increase accident risks and create conflicts with pedestrians. Critics say the laws are confusing and came too late, after millions of bikes were already sold. The truth is, this rise in illegal e-bikes isn't just about rule breaking. It's about fast technology, high demand, and slow regulation. E-bikes succeeded because they combine tech, convenience, and real usefulness. People adopted them quickly, maybe faster than lawmakers expected. But now cities are trying to catch up. We're likely going to see clearer definitions, more inspections, and stronger enforcement in the coming years. At the same time, we'll probably see better education for buyers, so people actually understand what they're riding. Because sometimes, the difference between legal and illegal isn't obvious. It might just be a few extra miles per hour, or a throttle switch you didn't think twice about. So if you ride or plan to buy one, it's worth checking your local rules. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more updates on e-bikes. Stay safe, and always make sure your ride follows local regulations.